Hi everyone, I'm Sabi from Camera Collective, and a couple months ago I tested the latest Panasonic G9 II in Austria, which was quite surprising, but I'll tell you why right away. Although I no longer have the camera with me, I had the opportunity to test the G9 II for a week before its release. It came in handy because we were in Austria, where I took a lot of footage and photos with the new camera. Therefore, I decided that this won't be a very detailed video filled with specifications and tests, as you probably already know the camera's details, but rather I will share my real user experience, whether they are positive or negative. When I first held the camera, I had a very déjà vu feeling because I noticed that it is almost identical to the S5 II and the S5 IIX. And it really is the case, except for the active cooling and of course the sensor sizes, as it has a 25 megapixel micro four thirds sensor. It is essentially the same body with all its buttons and dials, except for those differences. I was very happy about this because I found the bodies of the S5 II line extremely comfortable and easy to handle. However, at that point, I didn't know yet that there is a huge internal similarity as well with the S5 IIX, which surprised me completely. From the fast processor to the menu, the SSD recording option, the ProRes and other formats, almost everything matches between the two cameras, with the difference that the S5 IIX has a full-frame sensor, while the G9 II is equipped with a micro four thirds sensor. This has both positive and negative consequences, but I'll get to that a little later. So with this knowledge, I confidently took it with me to Austria, as the system was already familiar to me after the S5 IIX. But let's talk about my actual experiences and what the G9 II offered during the week. When I found out that it shares the same processor as the S5 IIX, I immediately thought that driving a micro four thirds sensor would be much easier, and its autofocus would likely be even faster and better than the latest S5 IIX. This was confirmed as the face detection autofocus on the micro four thirds sensor was simply capable of wonders. Its autofocus was noticeably faster and more accurate than the already well-performing S5 IIX. In most cases, I used it with the full area focus in body and eye tracking mode, and there were no issues whatsoever. In 99% of the cases, the focus was perfectly where I wanted it, both in video and photo modes. So I definitely felt the advantage of the micro four thirds sensor here, as its autofocus system appeared more reliable and functional. The camera can record video in variety of formats and codecs, including internal ProRes recording. However, I mostly use the 5.8K 10-bit OpenGate function at 25 FPS. Firstly, because this reads the entire sensor, and with the 16:9 aspect ratio, we can even move the recording vertically. Secondly, because it provides the best balance between quality and file size. I recorded in Vlog to take advantage of maximum dynamic range, and then graded afterwards according to my taste. I also tested 4K at 100 FPS for a couple of shots, which worked extremely well and allowed for beautiful slow motion effects. However, it seemed to have slightly weaker dynamic range and less detail in the highlights in this mode. But don't forget that I tested this in an extremely challenging situation in a canyon where it was dark below and very bright where the sun was shining, so I wasn't overly surprised by this. Often we use slow motion to hide unstable or shaky footage. However, I intentionally used 25 FPS without slow motion because I didn't need it at all. Indeed, there were times when I could capture incredibly stable handheld footage even at 60mm or wider during 12mm tracking shots. Officially, the G9 II is capable of up to 8 stops of stabilization, but when it comes to Panasonic, I can't even keep track anymore, and they keep achieving greater results in this area year after year. There were many situations where I filmed handheld without slow motion while walking on challenging trails or climbing a mountain, and the footage was still completely usable. With a bit of software stabilization, you can achieve almost gimbal-like movements. Only in wide-angle tracking shots did I occasionally notice some warping effects at the corners, but it was really nothing serious, and if I walked on a slightly smoother path, it disappeared. As I mentioned, I didn't just shoot videos, I took plenty of photos with the camera, which was also a very enjoyable experience. Honestly, it's a bit strange for me to say this because I never liked shooting with micro four thirds sensor cameras before. I don't know if it's the autofocus, the shallower depth of field, or what caused this, but it has completely changed now. As I already mentioned, the autofocus has improved immensely and is very usable. I was also very satisfied with the image quality. I didn't have the time to open the raw images in Lightroom yet, but the JPEGs are very promising. Austria's colors are beautiful and the G9 II played a huge role in that, and properly exposed JPEGs would be perfectly usable. By the way, what was interesting is that it was the first camera in a long time that didn't bother me or get in the way during a hike. Recently, I almost never bring a camera with me when traveling because they are usually heavy and just complicate things. Using the micro four thirds 12 to 60mm lens here, I had no such problem at all, and I comfortably carried the extra weight even during hikes. What might be even more important is that I actually used it. Because after all, perhaps the most crucial aspect is for the camera to inspire creativity and not be in the way or hinder the experience. And after 1 week, I must say that the G9 II was really motivating. It motivated me despite working with full-frame cameras in recent years, and despite having slightly weaker noise and dynamic range compared to full frames. However, considering its versatility and the amount of features and functions it has, I think it can be said that in this category, it is certainly at the top among micro four thirds sensor cameras. I still don't consider micro four thirds cameras dead because the smaller sensor comes with faster autofocus, better stabilization options, and of course lighter lenses, which can be significant advantages for most people. So overall, I was surprised by Panasonic with this camera, and I'm glad that for a lower price of $1,900, we got a mini S5 IIX, which can be used in various situations and in various ways with our favorite micro four thirds lenses. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. I hope you liked it or found it useful. If so, please let me know in a form of a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this, and leave a comment about your opinion of the Panasonic G9 II. Thank you very much for watching and see you guys in the next video.